Run. Run. Ah, run! You waited so nicely. Yay! For you.
Hi, I'm Kathy Scudda. I'm the lead for the Competent Learner Model project in Pennsylvania. Part of becoming an instructional engineer is really knowing your instructional strategies. This program will provide examples of real teachers using instructional strategies in classrooms with kids to make each learner successful and participating all day long.
Push it. Oh. How you doing? How was your weekend?
Instructional engineers are masters at moving fluidly between the instructional strategies. We are trying to move instructors from being technicians to being engineers. It's a way of thinking about instruction that puts more onus on the instructors.
Where's number 2? This is 2. Touch number 2. Good. Number 1. 1. Touch 1. 1. So what I'm noticing is that JR is pretty consistently choosing the number on his left-hand side. So now what I have to do is go back and modify my teaching to help JR be a little bit more successful with this. Ready? Number, look. Number 2. 2, that's right, bud. Instructional engineer.
As we become instructional engineers, understanding the rationale for everything we are doing so that we can deliver instruction with fidelity, make instructional adjustments that are sound based on rationale, and make our learners successful every moment of every day.
An effective teacher is always reflecting about what went well with a lesson and what didn't go so well. Making decisions in the moment. I can make a little change that hopefully will make all the difference.
Instructional engineers are always pursuing the target using whatever instructional strategy fits the moment. Pairing and correlating, shaping, priming, prompting, fade, reinforcement, model, lead, test.
Okay, a happy fish. Hey, you did amazing work.
Can I go to the swing?
You can. Hey, can I get a high five? All right, have fun at the swing.
An instructional engineer is constantly aware of what is motivating their learners and uses it to gain participation and then maintain participation through the use of reinforcement.
I discovered Isaac Blake's Car Magazine and Boys Life magazines from visiting him at home and seeing him looking at his mother's books. And so we brought him into school, and that's one of his reinforcers that we use throughout the day.
An effective teacher becomes an expert at learning how to identify reinforcers.
Yeah. Can I give you tickles?
You can ask parents, you can ask friends, you can ask the student themselves that they can tell you.
What JR just communicated to me was that he wants to get that swing again. And you got the swing for working so hard.
Reinforcers are different for all students. There are a variety of things that you can use for reinforcement, and really it all depends on the student and what they like.
Nice job following directions, Kevin.
You need to be a keen observer, watch what they go for, not being constrained by our own notions of what is valuable or what's fun.
Very nice, my friend. There you go.
It could be anything from leafing through a magazine to high fives to praise.
The scarf we found in play one time, waving them in the air.
It can be unusual things like bubbles to tickles, looking through fingers, looking at strings, shaking things, jumping. Reinforcers will strengthen any behavior it follows, appropriate or inappropriate.
JR, look at those beautiful hands. JR has a history of doing some undesirable things with his hands. What we do is use this marker to reinforce JR for any time his hands are being used appropriately. After he gets 10 X's, then he gets his isolated edible, which in this case is peanuts or cashews. It's become almost like a self-monitoring program for JR.
It's important to know what your instructional target is and reinforce only those responses that you are trying to establish or strengthen.
Students will ultimately let you know what they like, but remember, what they like today might not be what they like tomorrow, so you need to be constantly reassessing what your student likes on a daily basis.
The Competent Learner Model teaches us the value of teaching participation as a set of skills.
Oh, you're so smart.
Simply put, pairing is presenting things that we know your learner likes with things that we want him to like people, places, items, materials in the school environment.
Pairing.
So we have a new student in this classroom that loves big glasses on people. We've noticed that when visitors come in, these are the people that he gravitates to. So what we've been doing is we've been wearing the glasses as a pairing technique so that we become just as valued as these glasses are to him. Pairing.
All good instruction begins with pairing. Pairing is a process that you do every day. The pairing and correlating process is critical to establish strong participation with the instructor. So knowing what's reinforcing to the child is critical because you use that to pair yourself with those known reinforcing things. So for Jay, it's tickles and squeezes and high fives, and then slowly adding in a little bit of a requirement. So correlating that he needs to ask for those things to get that reinforcement. The student's engagement and strong participation is a signal that you begin to correlate more complex responses with getting what they want.
3, 2, 1, my turn.
Correlating begins with the simple step of pausing and seeing if the learner comes towards you.
Hey, what's up, buddy? Sure, there you go.
You get approach, you get some kind of indication from your learner that they want to keep the interaction going.
Do you want tickles on your feet? Sure. Tickles, tickles, tickles.
Correlating is associating appropriate behavior with reinforcement. In other words, we're requiring the student just to do a little bit more before they get that reinforcement.
This is the essence of developing participation, the use of known reinforcers to pair ourselves and begin to condition following directions from the teacher to have value.
Tickle, tickle, tickles on my feet.
You'll notice that Jen is pairing tickles non-contingently at first, and then slowly waiting and having the child request, correlating that he has to do something to get what he wants.
Tickles, tickles, tickles. On your face. Whoa.
There's no distinct rule that says you move now from pairing to correlating. This is a fluid process that you will move in and out of throughout the learning process. Shaping is an instructional strategy that uses the principles of reinforcement and pairing and correlating all together.
Once we establish participation, we begin to shape it into more complex behaviors. Shaping is reinforcing better and better behavior until we get to our final target.
What's up? Play-Doh, sure, here you go. Shaping. Bryce is one of our more naive learners. So what we're actually working on right now is peer proximity as well as following directions in a group, shaping group participation when the classroom has less distractions in it, less noises.
They orchestrated using his favorite materials so that they could slowly shape how long he can stay and maintain participation. So they started incrementally, which is how shaping occurs, one step at a time, and at this point they're up to 15 minutes. So it's been a slow progression over time.
As he's more successful with just one peer, then what we'll start doing is maybe keeping 2 peers in the classroom and then 3 peers in the classroom.
Eventually want him to be within groups throughout the day for any length of time, up to a half an hour of group instructions.
Shaping.
Reinforce closer forms of the behavior you're trying to shape more vigorously with higher affect when your learner begins to get closer and closer to that final form of the behavior you're trying to establish.
Oh, get that rocker. There you go. Nice.
Rob was observing Thomas for the point, a very strong point, so that he could quickly reinforce him with the rocker board.
Wait up. Oh, let's get that rocker.
Pointing was his current instructional target, and he was withholding reinforcement until Thomas pointed, and then he vigorously provided him the rocker board as his reinforcer.
Get on this thing. There you go.
Shaping is the most elegant instructional strategy known to man.
Hey, buddy. Take it back to your desk. What do you want to count first, cups or cookies? Cookies, okay.
Another important instructional strategy that you will use is prime, prompt, fade, and reinforce. When you teach using this strategy, you first prime, show or tell your learner what you want them to do.
3, 4, 5, 6.
Determine the type of prompt that will make your learner successful with the skill being taught. It can be a full physical prompt, a gesture, a verbal prompt. Any prompt that will make your learner successful with that skill that you are teaching.
Let's do it together. 1, 2,
Plan the strategy for
3,
fading that prompt.
4, 5, 6. Good job, Cam.
Sometimes our learners make errors or stop participating in the task that we are doing.
Cameron, line up on red.
When you're using prime, prompt, fade, and reinforce, the error correction takes you back to the most recent prompt that was successful.
Line up on red. Good.
And then you quickly try to fade.
Ready? Line up on red. Good job, buddy. Square. Square. Touch square with me. Good. Cameron, touch square. Good.
Model lead test is another errorless instructional procedure. If you have a learner who is good at imitating, this is an appropriate strategy to use. In this application, Will is being taught to say, "Excuse me."
Excuse me.
The teacher begins by modeling the skill.
Pick up the battery and come back to the desk.
Then they do it together.
Ready? Until we are amazing, mister. Sure. Grab that battery and walk back to the desk. You are so good. You did okay.
And then finally, he does it by himself.
All on your own this time. Go ahead and get the battery. Very good. You are so good. Nice job getting the battery, pal.
There's a lot of things I like about my job. My favorite part of the job is definitely being able to watch our kids grow and learn skills that they're going to be able to use as adults.
Knowing all of the evidence-based instructional strategies, understanding the rationale for when you would use which, and adjusting to make each learner successful in the moment. That is the true essence of instructional engineering.
For real, last one, okay?
CLM rocks.
Learning and loving it.
Learning and loving it, baby.
CLM rocks.
For more information, please visit the Patent website. Thanks for watching.
Hey, cheese. Cheese.
Learning and loving it.
CLM.